Hello, hello. Welcome to Cravin Iron Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Fiora. Today I'm here with Seirra Eileen, right? All right. She is a demo crew member, and she's actually, I think, one of the only demo crew members in Japan. And from my understanding, your boyfriend or husband, right? He's in the military, and I'm assuming you live on base.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Like I mentioned earlier, typhoon's passing by. It's a little gloomy, but it's pretty normal for this time of year. We get a couple typhoons.
Mm.
Hurricanes in the States, same thing. But it's a good day.
Yeah. How long you been in Japan?
2 years. This September will mark 2 years.
Man, that's crazy. Totally different. Totally different
It is very
experience. Yeah.
different. Yeah. It's wild. We requested to come out here just because we wanted to experience living in a whole nother culture. I wanted my daughter to experience being in another culture. To be taught Japanese too. My Japanese sucks,
Okay.
but she goes to a Japanese school, so she's being taught a couple different languages, which is beautiful. But yeah, it's a culture shock when you first get here, and you're actually briefed on their way of living and how to adapt and be respectful to the culture here. But it's awesome. I'm really appreciative that we have the opportunity to live here, but honestly, I can't wait to get back to the States.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been long enough. Do you ever come and visit? Do you visit often?
No, we have not gone back. Kind of see it as a waste of money. I'd rather be spending the money traveling to all the countries nearby. So that's why we've gone to Korea, Singapore, just Bali. That to me is more beneficial than going back and seeing family. As much as we miss them, we want to take the time and just really get to enjoy traveling here around Asia while we can, even though right now we're in lockdown, can't go anywhere.
Well, it's probably gonna be like a once in a lifetime opportunity for you guys, I'm assuming, right?
I think so. I think once we leave, we might not come back to Asia, but who knows? We talk about, if our kids really want to come back and see it, we'll make that time. But I think after we're done here, definitely want to try to either go back to the States, or my husband's talking about even maybe doing a Europe tour, being somewhere stationed over there, which would be, again, another incredible experience.
Yeah. No, it's not a lot of people get to like travel the world. See the whole different side of the world.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I recommend to people so much. Like, get out of the States, go see another culture, go experience it, and then you really truly realize the beauty of the US more than anything, on just how life is and how precious it is, the freedom that we have in the US versus, seeing these other cultures and countries where I've gone to third world countries and I'm just blown away. I can't imagine, living in those conditions, or not having the opportunities like you do in the States. So I feel like a lot of people take that for granted. So I always say, hey, you can please go travel and don't always go to the more luxurious places. Go to the smaller countries. Just see it from a whole other perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. One day, I'll tell you right now, this is probably the latest podcast I've done.
I know, I feel so bad. I was like, oh man, he's gonna have to stay up late, and I apologize. The time difference is crazy. It's awful
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. So if you don't know, so I live in Arizona, and she is. So it's Sunday here, Sunday 11 p.m. and it's Monday 3 p.m. there,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, almost 3:30 here on Monday. So I always tell people I'm in the future.
Yeah. That's a good way to point. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it makes things complicated, talking to family or even with my schoolwork and sometimes my job. I either have to stay up super late or I have to get up super early to accommodate the U.S. time zones.
Yeah, but I'm sure after 2 years you said you get adjusted pretty good, right? And you get
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, I found a good routine, so not
Yeah.
so bad.
So what do you do for work?
I am a forensic anthropologist, forensic pathologist. Right now, I do a lot of contracting work, so that'll be other independent cases. Or for now, I've been actually working on a lot of medical cases, due to COVID, where they need more pathology reports. But I think one of the greatest experiences that I've had for my job is being able to go into these countries like Korea and Vietnam and excavate, the remains of fallen soldiers, be able to identify, and we go out there, we identify the remains as best as possible. Sometimes it's really hard, but for me, it's the most rewarding, fulfilling thing, being able to bring these people back home, back to their families, and give a little bit of more peace and closure. And then, like, again, going back to, seeing these other countries and being in there and traveling, and it's amazing. That's my job is just totally different, where like it's opened up so many opportunities for me again to see the world. And then a lot of times people think I'm just really creepy, when I tell them, what do you do? And I'm like, I work with human remains. Whether that's just the bones, or sometimes I've actually been contracted on criminal cases where, I do work with the human remains. I collect evidence, or, some brutally homicidal cases, different things like that. I try not to get too much detail. I really try not to even talk about it too much or post about it too much, because it can be a little bit depressing, a little bit gruesome. I remember when I was actually even in school, I would be sending pictures to my husband of, things I was learning or studying or being out in a body farm, and he would absolutely hate me.
Did you
Threatening.
Did you say body farm?
Yes. Done a lot of work on body farms, a lot of studying, and I find it amazing. I'm a nerd, so I get all excited. But yeah, when I would send pictures, my husband would be like, "Don't stop sending me pictures. I'm gonna block you." Yeah, so I think I'm a little bit more quiet on my work for the most part, especially on social media.
Yeah.
Because people are like, "Oh, you're a little creepy," once they find out. But it's something that since I was a little kid, I loved science. I loved forensic science. I always knew I wanted to do something with forensic science. And then when I found it when I was a teenager, anthropology and pathology, I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. When I go back to the States, my goal is probably FBI would be amazing. And I think that's my husband's goal too, is to go into the FBI, and to be a win-win for us to be able to be in Virginia and have the same, not job, but be able to go in the same building.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have a lot of experience up there, a lot of different experience that nobody's going to have.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be your benefit compared to everybody else.
Yeah, especially being out here, that's opened up a lot of windows of opportunity for me, to add to my experience. Because I always dreamed about it, even when I was studying and thinking, I would love to be able to go to these other countries and bring home fallen soldiers. That was always one of my biggest things, and I thought, I'll never get the opportunity, I'll never get that chance. And then when my husband said, hey, I might be going to Japan, I was like, that's my foot in, So when we got over here, I really had to work hard, because when you come to Japan, you actually have to go to the mainland and go in front of a board, and be licensed and be accredited to work over here, even though I'm technically in a U.S. base and whatnot. It's a huge process, a lot of money. It was really nerve-wracking and stressful, but it was worth it.
Yeah, and Japan's not that cheap. Like,
Not at all.
yeah, they're all high tech. Like, I always wanted to go to Japan just because of their tech. You know what I mean? They're so much more advanced than the U.S. It's crazy.
It is in certain ways, especially mainland. Here in Okinawa, it's almost kind of like stepping back in time a little bit. Certain areas, it's really a lot more rural here in Japan. But yeah, mainland, they're all high tech. Everything is in a vending machine, no matter what you want. Here, there's a lot of vending machines, but it's really for hot coffees, cold drinks, different things like that. There's even cigarette vending machines on like every corner. But yeah, it's some of the technological stuff is amazing, and I think the one thing I'm actually gonna miss the most is how I would say technologically advanced and clean their bathrooms are.
Oh, geez.
You go in there and it was intimidating at first, but there's like a million buttons and everything is like talking to you in Japanese. I don't know if you've ever seen Cars. I believe it's Cars 2.
Yep.
You have
I have
kids, so
kids, yeah. Yeah, I got kids. Disney.
that depiction of Mater
Pixar.
when he goes into the bathroom stall was the most accurate thing I've ever seen.
Oh.
So when I first saw that, I about died laughing because I was like, that is so true. You go in here and everything is talking to you in Japanese, and you see all these buttons and the bidet, and you can like adjust the spray settings. As soon as you walk in, the toilet starts spraying stuff and making noises before you even touch it. A little scary.
Jeez.
But now that I've gotten used to it, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back to the States, deal with the dirty bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a luxury now. But yeah, Japanese people, they've taken everything above and beyond, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard they have like vending machines for cars. You just go up and pick your car if you want it. And
They might. I haven't seen that here. I didn't actually get a chance to roam around mainland when I was there, but we're planning on taking another trip as soon as we can when my husband probably gets back from his deployment. And then we really just want to venture out and see all of Tokyo, see Osaka and different places.
yeah. So I mean, it's it's super interesting. It's really interesting to me, like, to hear more about Japan. But this podcast is to get your story, and I'm curious actually how you got to Japan and why you. I mean, I'm sure your husband kind of had a choice to go to Japan, right?
Kind of, sort of.
Kinda.
Kind of.
But anyways, yeah, let's get into your backstory. Where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up? You have a son, right?
I have two kids, a daughter and a son.
Okay. And yeah, so what's your backstory? What makes you you?
That is a long story. So like I said, I took notes, trying to condense everything. I grew up though, really had a rough childhood. My parents were about 16, 17 years old when they had me. And, being young, immature, they made some irresponsible decisions, and they kind of ultimately chose drugs and alcohol over me. And during my childhood, it was a lot of physical abuse, mental abuse, even sexual abuse. But thankfully, by the grace of God, when I was about 3.5 years old, my great-grandparents rescued me. My parents split up. My dad was the one that got custody over me, but he was still young and pretty much said he didn't want to do it anymore. So my grandparents took me in. They were very, very old school because they were born by, I think, the 30s.
Boomer status, yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of raised almost in a whole other lifetime. I was raised on a ranch, so every day was wake up at 3 a.m., go feed all the animals, go clean out the barn, go do everything that the ranch needed to be done before school, come home, pretty much do it all again after school. My grandparents were, the epitome of hardworking, because that was their generation, and that's how I was raised. And as a kid, I grew up and I hated it. I was like, nobody else has to, do all the work that I do. Nobody else wakes up this early, and, all my friends do this and this. But I look back, and I'm really thankful for the way I was raised, because it did build me into who I am now. And on top of being strict, they were preachers.
Oh,
so then that just made things even more over the top, I would say. I wasn't even allowed to go to other people's houses. I wasn't allowed to wear shorts. I wasn't allowed to wear, things that I saw everybody else wearing,
little double whammy there.
Yeah. So I was very, very sheltered. I was this girl that was just very, very sheltered. Couldn't even sit down and watch TV. My grandparents were like, hey, if you're sitting down, you got too much time on your hands. we're going to put you to work. They always found something for me to do. And when it comes to being in church, I grew up learning every instrument they could throw at me so that I could be the worship leader. And that's what I was as I got older. I was the worship leader, became the youth minister. But my passion ultimately was always sports. I've always been an athlete. I played everything from soccer, baseball, football, basketball, did track and field, did a little bit of wrestling, and I just love sports. My only downfall was, ever since I can remember, I've always been in pain. I remember being a little girl just waking up, just crying because my legs and my hips and my knees were just in so much dying pain. And growing up in a little town, didn't really probably have the best doctors. And nobody could ever tell me what was wrong. I always just got told, take some Advil and stop playing sports. And stop playing sports was not an option for me. I was like, no,
Yeah.
I love playing sports. That was my best thing, biggest thing. I loved it. So I just grew up, I wake up, take Advil. At lunchtime, take Advil. Before practice, take Advil. After practice, take Advil. Awful. Yeah. I look back, I can't even imagine what my liver looks like. At 13 years old, I had to have my first knee surgery. That was from football. Tore my meniscus, just snapped it completely. And then a couple years later, I tore ACL, MCL, PCL, everything that was in soccer. Had to have another knee surgery.
Jeez.
And yeah, that was my senior year too, and I had already established a soccer scholarship. But after that, the rehab didn't go very well. I lost like almost 2 inches of muscle mass on my left leg, and I don't want to say I had a bad physical therapy team. I don't know what happened. The recovery just was not there. So I ultimately made the decision, after high school, I was like, I guess I'm done. Done playing sports. I guess it's not in the cards for me. So I graduated at 16. Got my first car and everything, got into college.
You graduated high school at 16?
Yes.
My gosh.
I did.
Smart one, huh?
That's kind of what they said. I skipped a grade. I skipped third grade when I was younger. But also I think what drove me the most was my grandparents always said, hey, when you finish school, you are free. You're free to do whatever you want. And so that's what drove me.
Time to get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. I think I was just so sheltered, and I didn't like that. I wanted to go see the world. I wanted to go experience everything. I was like, hey, I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna do this schoolwork as fast as I can. I did my schoolwork year round. So that's why when 16 came around, and I had finished, I was like, hey, done. Bye. So 16, I've been out on my own. I've been on my own since I was 16, pay my own bills, had my own apartment, had my own car, got my first real job. Obviously, I worked on the ranch and worked on everybody else's ranch around us, because that's how it goes when you're a little kid in a small town. You work on all the ranches. But my first official job was actually at Culver's. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Arizona has some Culver's.
Yes, we do.
Delicious. I love that place.
Yeah. I think it's one of those nice. It's like it's different fast food. Good food. Yeah. The ice cream is fucking amazing.
Custard, yes.
Especially if you look online and you actually order the good stuff, because on their menu outside doesn't really have that much. But you go online and they have so much shit. It's like, oh my gosh. But no, it's like a restaurant where you go in and sit down, but instead you just pull up in the parking lot. You have your number like you would put on your the edge of your table. Mm-hmm. Okay, you put it on your window, and they come out and they feed you and shit. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing. I fall in love with their customer service. I think that's the biggest thing, is I've always had I was always taught, to have that servant's heart. You're here on this planet to serve others, and Culver's has that. That's why, they go above and beyond, and it was amazing. I fell in love with that mentality that they had, and obviously that was my first job, and I just worked my way up, and I stayed with them all through college.
Oh, okay.
But how I did not end up weighing 300 pounds working there for so long, I do not know.
I mean, it's not terrible food though. It's different when you're working at McDonald's or Jack in the Box that serve you shit. So
very true.
My wife is a full Jack in the Box fan, like a full-hearted Jack in the Box fan. Yeah, I'm just a chicken and rice fan from Walmart or Smith's, but.
Oh yeah, my husband loves all fast food. He loves it all, and if we're traveling, it's awful. I try to stay away from it, but I'm a big foodie too, so
yeah.
I'm like, but Culver's, yeah. Luckily, they do have like really good salads, and that's one thing I'd order almost all the time. But yeah, being a casual dining restaurant, they definitely stand apart from McDonald's and all that stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't put them. If you had to like categorize Culver's, I'd put them with like Denny's. I don't know. Maybe.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. They took the concept of fast food and they outdid themselves,
Well, I mean, like I said, they
has like the waitressing.
Yeah, they kind of make it seem like you're sitting in a restaurant, but you're in a car. So it's still fast food, but it's nice. You don't have to sit in line forever. They're always so busy, but there's never a line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's quick, and the food's never bad.
Yeah, that's very true. Everything, if it's done right, everything should always be fresh, made to order. That's how we always ran it. But yeah, I love Culver's. I love everything about the company. And when I love something, I'm very passionate about it. So to this day, I'm like, what? If I ever decide to get back into the restaurant industry, own my own restaurant, I'll go with Culver's hands down, because they're wonderful people. I've met the owners, I've met the CEO, I've met a lot of the regional managers and stuff, and they're just always great people. They're always amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like my first official job. That's actually where I met my husband. That was his like a first, big official job too. But before him and I actually started dating, I was in a relationship with somebody that I really should have never even been in a relationship with. He was just not a good person. But during that time with him, I suffered a lot of mental abuse from him. It was constantly, you're not good enough, you're ugly, you would be so much better if you looked like her, you'd be so much better if you, wore more dresses, acted like this. I was such a tomboy my whole life. I never wore dresses, I never did my hair super fancy, I never did my nails, but this guy would always put me, say, I need to be like this, you need to be like this, and yeah, it was awful. And it started with the mental abuse, and then I got to the physical abuse, and I'd always be showing up to work with different marks, bruises, things, and I'd always lie, and I'd always cover up for this guy, and I didn't know at the time. I thought I was a good liar. But my husband later on told me, he was like, no, we all knew what was going on. Like, everybody there knew, what was happening, and like, we talked about it, and then from the mental abuse, the verbal abuse, it escalated, like I said, to the physical abuse. It got to the point where he beat me so bad I was in the hospital, almost dead. I didn't know during that time that I guess my husband had took it upon himself to actually confront the guy and say, if he ever came near me again, that he would do bad things to him. And it shocked me because I didn't know that my husband did that for a really long time, and him and I weren't even really that close. I kind of would always work the opposite shift of him, so it was always just like a brief hi and bye kind of thing.
Yeah.
But later on, I did break it off with that guy after that instance, and then I found out that my husband had said that, so I I started talking to him a little bit more, I said, thank you for at least, even giving me that extra help of making sure that guy doesn't really come around. And he was just always very, very sweet. My husband was always just very, very sweet. He never hit on me, never flirted with me. But we'd always start talking, start texting more and hanging out a little bit. And I always kind of thought, I was like, maybe he's not into me, because I started getting a little crush on him. But I always saw, all the girls talking about him and talking to him. And I was like, all right, maybe he's not that into me. Maybe I'm not his type, he just sees me as a friend. But I was like, oh, it's okay. But finally, it just, it kept going.
Relationship too, so.
Yeah. And that left a lot of, mental damage in me. I did not have self-confidence. Especially with a lot of things that happened to me as a little girl. I think my self-confidence was never very high to begin with. And then being in that relationship, I would always think to myself, when I would even think about my husband, I was like, I'm not good enough for him. He could have anybody. Why would he want me? I'm just damaged goods, everything that I've been through. So it was a little bit, of that. I kind of want him to ask me out, and then I was like, I don't know if it would even work because I don't think I'm good enough. But finally, I'm actually the one that asked him out. Finally got to the point where I was like, hey, do you want to hang out? And he was like, yeah, of course. And even on that first date, he was amazing. He was just very sweet, just an extreme gentleman. But ever since then, we were just inseparable. So we've been together since we were 16. We're still together now, obviously, but He's been my best friend from that day on. I was my freshman year of college when we first met, and then he was just graduating high school, and then he went off to boot camp. And I finished out my undergrad there, and then I applied for ASU. And then I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, to go to ASU. And then that's where I finished my graduate school. So during that time, he went off to boot camp. And then obviously he went everywhere where the Marine Corps told him to go. And he kept, throughout all those years, he kept asking me to marry him, over and over. Hey, will you marry me? And I was like, I would always give all these excuses, no, I'm too busy with school, too busy with work, I want to do all this stuff because, I'm very goal oriented. So I always had, this plan. So I was like, let me just do this and let me just do this and we'll figure it out later.
Well, and I'm sure that it was a little hard because he was gone a lot of the time and, traveling for the military. Because I know when you first graduate boot camp, just being in boot camp alone, you don't see him for 6 months, and
the Marine Corps is 13 weeks, and they do have the longest boot camp. But right after boot camp, they are sent to go what they call their MOS, their military occupational specialty. So they go to their special school, where again, you really can't even see them because they are training for about 6 months to learn whatever it is that they're supposed to do in the military. So overall, the first year they're in the military, you don't even see them really because they are doing so much. And then also I had that always in the back of my head, well, we're long distance, he's gone, he's gonna find somebody better than me, someone prettier, somebody smarter, someone who hasn't been through everything that I've been through, and he'll be way happier. So I always was just beating myself down, and I always thought he was too good to be true. I was he's such a good guy. He's so sweet. He's so amazing. I was always waiting for something to happen for him to slip up, someone tell me something, because I just didn't think it was, I didn't think I'd ever have that happy fairy tale ending. But he was just the most loyal, amazing man that I ever met in my life. I really feel he was just such a blessing. God put him in my life for a very specific reason. Because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have, went downhill in a lot of certain ways. He brought that joy and that happiness to me that I really never felt. And, you know, I that's one of the main things that I love about him, because, you know, he's always so supportive, and he has never put me down in any single way. He's never put any of my crazy goals or dreams down, you know, because I'm like I said, I'm very goal driven, and I cannot ever just be sitting still. And I think that's something that my grandparents, you know, they just hammered into me, that I always have to be doing something. I always have to have a goal, you know, never settle for second best on anything. So, you know, when I told him, I'm like, all right, let me just get my bachelor's degree. And I was like, wait, no, I want to get my master's. Wait, no, I want to get my PhD. And I was like, wait, I want to get another degree. You know, he was always just like, yeah, go for it. You know, like full support. So he's always been amazing. But I finally told him one time, I was like, yeah, let me just finish my degree and then we'll get married. And he was like, all right. He's like, I support you, your decision. And the day I graduated, he calls me up and he's like, I'm so proud of you. You did it. Congratulations. I bought you a plane ticket. I got us a house. You're going to marry me. It was no question. It was, you're going to marry me now.
Like you already said yes. You're screwed now.
Yeah. Pretty much. He was like, I'm tired of waiting. He's like, I'm done waiting. He's like, it's been 4 years. He's like, you did this, you accomplished what you set out to do. He's like, I'm not going to hold you back. Obviously, I know you still want to do more. He's like, but we're getting married. So I was like, all right, you know, I couldn't disagree with him. And, you know, I knew I'd never find anybody that loved me more, that was, you know, better for me. And he always put up with me with everything. So yeah, so we got married. And then I think it was only like 2 months maybe into our marriage. I ended up pregnant. It was not planned, obviously, you know, blessing, but it wasn't planned. I really never planned on having kids. I think that just goes back to I saw how traumatic my childhood was, and I never wanted a child to go through what I went through. And I always told myself, like, I think if I had a kid, I would just stress out so much. I'd be so scared that they would go through the pain and the suffering that I went through, and I couldn't do that. Didn't ever want that to happen. But so my son was unexpected. I was on birth control, but I was like, all right, you know, I guess God has different plans for us. 6 months into the pregnancy, I was only 21 weeks. My husband was gone on a ship, and there's no way to contact him when they're out floating in the middle of the sea. For a couple days, I was suffering with really bad back pain, and I just didn't feel good, but I still went to work. I still went to my classes, and I just kind of pushed through it. Yeah, I've lived my life, a whole life pretty much in pain, so I've always just learned to cope with it and just be like, it's nothing, keep going. After a few days, though, I realized something's wrong. You know, I need to go get checked out, so I went to the doctor, and they said, you're in labor. I was like, I'm only 21 weeks. Yeah, I was like, I'm only 21 weeks pregnant. I can't be in labor. And they're like, you're in labor. So they admitted me. They gave me a couple different types of medication that would try to stop the labor. Because their goal was to stop the labor, hopefully stop it for hopefully be able to keep the baby in for a couple more weeks, because I think the youngest baby delivered was about 23 weeks, 24 weeks is when they say they have a better chance of survival. 21 weeks, there's almost zero chance. So I'm there in the hospital. I'm by myself. Can't contact my husband. I really don't have any family. My grandparents were like the only family I had. So yeah, so it's just me by myself and just praying. You know, I was just praying God that, you know, that everything would be in His hands and everything would be okay. You know, and save the baby. But after they had done a couple different tests, the doctor had come in I remember it was about 3 a.m. and he said, you have a severe infection in your uterus. Like it's just a freak accident. He's like, there's nothing that you could have done to prevent it. He's like, but you're going to deliver the baby. Like, you can't stop it. It's like your body sees this infection and is just trying to get it out. And he told me, he's like, you will deliver the baby. He's like, we're going to put him in your arms. He'll probably only live for a few minutes because he can't breathe on his own. So that's pretty much what happened. I gave birth. They put him in my arms. And, at that age, their eyes are still fused shut. His skin was still transparent. He was only 13 ounces. But he actually ended up living for over an hour. So it was a lot longer than what they said. So I was, grateful for that, that I got to just hold him and be with him and for that amount of time. But it was this heartbreaking experience that, I had to go through alone. My husband, was gone. He wasn't even there for the funeral. He wasn't there to, see him, hold him, say goodbye to him. And I just completely just shut down. I went into like major depression. I didn't even want to talk to anybody. I didn't even want to do anything. Obviously, I just kept to myself, but I still did my schoolwork. I still went to work, but there was just no life. I didn't feel like I had a purpose. Very, very depressed. My doctor wanted to put me on all sorts of medication and different things, and I did. I said yes. I was like, sure, I'll take it. I'll take the antidepressants and whatnot. I took them. I really never felt like they did much. But finally, my husband got back from his deployment, and he was like, give me the pills. He took the pills, flushed them down the toilet. He was like, you don't need these pills. Like, what you need is to get up, go to the gym. And I was like, all right, sure, whatever. And so we started, he helped me write down like a little workout plan. We started going to the gym together, and I fell in love. Obviously, I loved working out when I was a kid, in high school and stuff, but the workouts we did in high school, were just garbage.
Yeah, you just throw away, or you just throw around some weight, and it just like, oh, see, something's happening, but in reality, you're just playing a whole bunch of sports, and that's why you're fit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the only reason why I was lean, had muscle, and had abs was just because I'm a kid that's just running around constantly.
Yeah.
And we'd go to the gym after football practice, but it was always like, hey, let's do a couple sets of squats, let's do a couple lat pull downs, let's do, running up and down the stairs. I call it a day. Like it was just garbage. I look back and I'm like, what are these PE coaches and stuff like why don't they actually train like legit? But whatever. But yeah, so we got into the gym, and we started doing like bodybuilding style workouts, and and like, hey, today is back and bicep, tomorrow's chest and triceps, we got leg day, so it was very that bodybuilding style, and I instantly fell in love. Obviously, didn't really know what I was doing when it came to like a lot of the isolation workouts and stuff, but my husband walked me through it, and yeah, like little by little, I had that sense of purpose just come back into me. I was like, yeah, like I said, I'm very goal oriented. So it's like once I started, I was like, oh, now I got to be the best. Now I got to look like this. I want this. I want that.
Yeah.
So it's like that just lit that fire inside of me, and it gave me, like a happiness back. But then again, my husband had to leave, so I'm all by myself. And I'm like, all right, I need to go train shoulders. And 4 years, my left shoulder has been a huge problematic thing for me. And I think it stems from baseball. I used to pitch. And, after practice, after games, my shoulder would be just killing me. So I probably tore my labrum back then and never knew it until years later. But yeah, so like I'd go in and I train shoulders, and I'd be like, my shoulder's killing me, probably not doing something right. So I remember one day I was like, all right, let me just look up how to do these exercises right, because my husband's not here to tell me my form is crap or that I'm doing something wrong. I was like, so let me look this up. And I remember typing in like how to perform a side raise, and scrolling through, and I see this like big buff dude. Like he's massive, he's got a beard. I'm like, this guy knows what he's doing. I click on the video and it ends up being Seth Brosey.
How I saw that coming.
Huh?
I saw that coming.
Yeah, yeah, big dude with the beard, Seth Brosey. It ended up being Seth Brosey, and I loved the way that he was explaining it. I loved like his passion. Like you could tell he was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
But he was so in depth versus the other videos I'd watch like 30 seconds of it, and I was like, all right, this is not helping. I don't like this. It's getting nowhere. But his was so informative. His passion, you could see it just like coming through the screen. It was amazing. And I was like, hey, I like this guy. And I just thought he was just I don't know, just random fit dad or something. I didn't think he was IFBB pro. I didn't know anything about him. But I was like, hey, I like this guy. And I remember going to his YouTube channel and subscribing, and then I just went through all his videos. And I was addicted. And so I would go into the gym and I'd follow his workout videos, like how he would explain it and run it through, and that's when I fell in love with him. And I remember even sending, because my husband could email me, so I remember sending him an email saying, hey, I found this really big buff dude on YouTube, and he's amazing. I was like, I think you would like him. He cusses just as much as you do. I was like, it's awesome. I was like, I feel like I'm actually doing something in the gym. I feel like I'm learning a lot, and that's when I really did fall in love with actual bodybuilding, more like lifestyle and mentality and the way you lift. And then when my husband got back, while he was gone, he got into a whole other kind of lifting. He found this guy, I don't know if you know him, he's called Mark Riptoe. And it's all about kind of like bench, squat, deadlift, and that's almost all that guy's. Yeah, that's like almost all the guy does is bench, squat, deadlift. So my husband found that, and he fell in love with that. So when he got back, I thought we would, work out together again, and it just is not a good idea because he was like, no, we're gonna bench, squat, deadlift, and that's it. And I was like, wait, that's not what Seth Brosey says. I was like, he says I need to do this, this, and this, and he was like, I'm not doing that. That's not what I want to do. So now my husband and I, we actually don't work out together. We may go to the gym at the same time, but he does his own thing. I do my own thing. But now I feel like I'm a little bit more of a subject matter expert because I studied it, and I follow what Seth says. Like Seth is my coach in my little head.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my husband and I, we can't even work out together now because we just clash heads. Because I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do isolation workouts, and he was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm like, all right, you do you, I'll do me.
Have you tried his 12-week program?
That's 12-week program?
Yeah.
No, I have not. Just because I don't feel like I'm at that point of just trying to like gain a lot of mass.
Yeah.
Because when he put that out, I was pregnant with my son, I believe. I think I was pregnant with my son or my daughter. I can't remember. And now I was pregnant and I saw that and I was like, I don't want to, have the baby and then put on mass, because when I got pregnant with my daughter, I had this terrible thing when I was pregnant called no fucking self-control. And I ate everything on site and I gained 75 pounds.
I think that's what's supposed to happen, because my wife went through the same thing where I was doing midnight runs to the gas station for candy and shit for some reason, and
yeah.
So I think it's like a natural thing when you're pregnant. I don't know.
Especially with hormones. I think every woman's different, so everyone's hormone levels are different. But I think mine were just through the roof because before I even knew I was pregnant, obviously I got into this whole fitness and this whole bodybuilding thing, and then I got to the point where I'm like, all right, I had gained like 10 pounds of muscle. I went from like 130 to like 140, 145. And I was like, sweet, I'm getting there. This is awesome. But then I was like, I want to kind of lean out because I wasn't seeing abs. I was just getting bigger. I was like, I need to see my abs. So I started this really strict diet. And I realized after a month, I was gaining weight. I was like, why am I still gaining weight? I'm eating nothing but like salad. Took a pregnancy test and realized I was pregnant.
Nah.
And that was with my daughter. And it was, again, not planned. I was on birth control. But yeah, and then I'm telling you, nothing would ever satisfy me. Like I'd eat, and 10 minutes later, I would feel hungry again. So I just kept stuffing my face. And yeah, I got to about 205 pounds. So all the work that I made, I felt like it just went right out the door. All the muscle, I felt like I lost it all and just got fat. And then, she's my firstborn. So after I had her, I didn't feel comfortable putting her in daycare. Just because, I was so overprotective, and it just went back to that fear of, things happened to me as a little girl that, I would just die if something happened to my daughter. So I was so overprotective of her, especially firstborn. I was like, nope, can't put her in daycare. I'm just going to stay at home with her until she's a year old. Or at least until she can start talking a little bit more, kind of verbalize,
Understanding a little bit and can let you know if something's wrong or whatever, yeah. It's a comfort thing. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the whole first year, after I had my daughter, I actually lost all the weight, but it was with diet alone. I didn't even step foot into a gym. It was 100% diet. I just meal prepped, and the 80 pounds just came off. When she was about a year and a half, that's when I enrolled her into daycare, and that's when I started lifting weights again. And I thought, I'm going to make all this progress. It's going to be great. And my shoulder just kept bugging the heck out of me. Like this left shoulder, it was just pain no matter what I did. Was it a pressing motion? Was it was, a side raise? Like I just couldn't figure it out, and I would get so frustrated. And I'd even cry. I'd come home and cry and be like, I can't even lift the weight because my shoulder hurts so bad. So I would take some time off, thinking, all right, let me just wait around, see if it gets better, get back in the gym. Nothing would change. So I went to the doctor, and obviously Navy medicine's not the best, and they were just like, oh, your shoulder hurts, physical therapy. So I did physical therapy 3 days a week. I had a great team, though. I loved my physical therapy team. They were amazing. But even with physical therapy 3 times a week, I still had so much pain.
Shoulders ain't no joke. I mean, I pulled my rotator cuff because I went on it's the first time I did an intermittent fasting diet. And so I did the intermittent fasting diet. I dropped my weight because I was working out in the garage, and I only have 300 pounds in the garage, and that's like with everything stacked onto the bar, And anyways, so I was just throwing around 300 pounds, so like bench or deadlift or whatever, right? And I'm doing that again because of the quarantine shit, and no gyms being open in Arizona. But yeah, so anyways, I ended up I dropped the weight, ended up increasing the intensity, doing a lot of Seth's workouts. I actually did his 12-week program for a little while. And I dropped the weight, and it's a shit ton of reps. But anyway, so I was like, you know what? It's been like a month since I've even tried 300. I'm going to throw it back on. So I had my wife go out there because I don't have a spot or whatever. And when I'm kind of skeptical on what I'm doing, I'll say, hey, can you just come out here and, if I'm going to die, at least just take a picture or something.
Yeah.
No, just
at least let it be a cool death.
Yeah, just tell them I was benching like 700 pounds or something, doing something stupid, So anyway, so I ended up having her out there with me, and did 300, and I did it like 5 times, and I was like, that was a little, that was more difficult than I expected, but I'm gonna do it again. And I felt a little weird in my shoulder, so I was like, I'm gonna do 5 more. Fuck it, why not? Because I used to do 5 sets of 5 of 300. That was like my set thing. I used to start at 300, and that was like shocking the muscle and all that shit. Anyways.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna do this. So I ended up doing it. In my second one came down in my shoulder. I felt it in my shoulder a little bit, but I was like just being stupid because I used to be able to throw it around like nothing, So I ended up hearing a pop, just pop, and my wife couldn't get it off of me, and I put the stupid fucking clips on the end.
No.
Yeah, so I ended up just pushing it up and putting it back anyways. But I couldn't bench for like it was like 3 months. I didn't bench, like I didn't even get close to 300 because my shoulder would kill me. So I looked up a whole bunch of different ways to fix the problem, and I didn't see anybody. I just said, oh well, I think it's my rotator cuff. Because I mean you could feel it. You kind of know where it is and what it is. But what sucks with the shoulder is you use it for fucking everything.
Exactly.
So yeah, I was kind of in the same situation, but then I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need my shoulders to get a little stronger because I gave it time to heal and everything, So I was like, it should be fine. But what sucks is like it won't hurt, but then like a quarter way through the workout, you'll do something, and then it's like, well, now my workout's fucked, and you can feel it the whole workout. You know what I mean? So I said maybe I'll just get it stronger. So every day, didn't matter if it was arms, back, shoulders, chest, didn't matter. I was doing side lateral raises as a warm up, just to warm up the shoulder, and it was like 5 to 10 pounds, just lightweight.
Yeah,
Throw it around a
just the
little
blood
bit.
flowing.
Yeah, I ended up buying the bands, I started using bands to warm it up, and anyway, so I ended up helping a lot, and then I ended up getting with the Delmo crew and taking Action Sledge supplements, and the man, I got a brain fart.
The elbow grease?
Yeah, elbow grease. Thank you. Yeah, that ended up helping a lot. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every now and then I still feel it, but like it's nothing like it was before. Now I go like weeks without feeling it, and it's amazing. But then I have that one time where I do like a shoulder workout, and because I mean, with shoulder pain experience, you learn that, okay, well, this workout's not feeling the best, so I'm not going to do that one anymore. I'm just going to do like maybe one set, and you're like, nope, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to fuck my whole shoulder up again. And yeah, the shoulders are like that's like everything in a workout. You don't know that until you fuck up a shoulder.
Exactly. It's awful. And I think almost anybody I've met that really loves bodybuilding has told me, like, yeah, I've had shoulder surgery or my shoulder hurts. Like, it's awful. And dealing with shoulder pain, I wouldn't wish that on anybody because, like you said, it affects everything.
Yeah.
And, it's affected me since the moment I fell in love with bodybuilding, and I just let it hinder me for a really long time because everyone just said, oh, take time off, or my doctor would say, well, don't lift, stop lifting, stop bodybuilding, just stop, and I'd be like, you don't understand, like, I don't want to stop, this is what I want to do, I love it, so I felt like even when I first started, I couldn't make that progress that I wanted to, and then I got pregnant with my daughter, I gained all that weight, then I had to lose it, and then I had to gain muscle again, so I'm like, man, I felt like just go right back to square one, but luckily, at that point, I still had like Seth in my life, and I still watching his videos, and so like every day when I do my cardio, I always watch whatever workout that I had planned for the next day. So I'd do my cardio after my workout, and if tomorrow was gonna be back, I'd watch like Seth's back workout. But yeah, like I'd go in there and any kind of shoulder exercise would kill me, any kind of bench press exercise would kill me. And I was able to pack on muscle again because I went back down to like that 130, super skinny, no muscle, and then I packed on more muscle. I went back up to about 140, and then finally, Navy Medicine was like, "Hey, you've been in physical therapy for about 2 years," because I went to physical therapy even before I was pregnant with my daughter, while I was pregnant with my daughter, after I had my daughter. So they saw me through like all these stages. They saw me, before, during pregnancy, after pregnancy. They were with me. The team was amazing. They were with me the whole way. But yeah, they were like, "Hey, you've been here for like 2, almost 3 years, and your shoulder's still killing you." I was like, yeah, well, Navy Medicine says I just need physical therapy. But finally, Navy medicine was like, hey, if you want to get a referral out in town to an off-base doctor, that they would sign off on it. So I said, yes, please. So the first one that I went to, he did x-rays and MRIs and was like, you have really bad cervical degeneration. He was like, I'm pretty sure that's what's causing your shoulder pain, because you have some pressure on your nerves. Because, I would tell him, like, this whole arm's going numb. I was like, I can't do anything. I can't feel anything. Like, it just hurts. So he was like, yeah. He's like, I can't do anything for you. He's like, you're too young. I wouldn't recommend surgery on your spine. Stop lifting weights. And at that point, I had a coach that I was working with, and I remember calling him after that doctor appointment, and I was just like crying because I'm so frustrated. I'm like, he says there's nothing he can do for me except for write me a prescription for painkillers and tell me to stop lifting weights. And I was like, that's not what I want. Like, and my coach at that time was like, that's not what you want. He's like, let's find somebody else. He's like, find a different doctor. He's like, we're gonna keep training. He would help me out with a lot of different shoulder strengthening exercises, working on the stabilizers and everything, so I felt like I was really busting my ass, fix my shoulder, but, like nothing was working.
Yeah, it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's, that was hindering my progress, and, I was just angry. Like, I was internally so angry about it. But luckily, watching Seth would always motivate me, keep me, like, he always talks about, you just keep pushing, just keep pushing, find another way to get it done. And so that's what I kept trying to do. And I remember being on the phone with TRICARE, which is the military's insurance. And I remember calling them and saying, is there anybody else in this area? Because they have to authorize it. They have to say, this doctor, we approve that you can go see them. And they were like, no, there's nobody else in your area. And I was like, I don't care if it's in a whole other state. I will drive to see another specialist out of state, whatever. On my own dime, I don't care. They were like, nope, there's nobody else. Sorry. That's all we can do for you. But I kept calling, and finally I was like, is there a manager or somebody? Let me pull a full Karen and be like, let me speak to your manager because I'm getting nowhere here. Finally, I was able to speak with the supervisor, and he was like, look, there's one guy that I know. He's in another town. He's like, I don't know if he still takes TRICARE, but I know he has seen patients before. And I was like, please give me his name. I don't care how far I have to drive. Luckily, it was only about an hour drive. But I called, made an appointment, and that guy was amazing surgeon, but he got me in right away. And he literally sat me down and did a few like range of motion tests, kind of poked around a little bit, didn't even take an x-ray or an MRI, nothing. But looked at me and was like, I know exactly what's wrong with you. He's like, you have a torn labrum, and I guarantee you your bicep is torn as well. And I was like, all right, not what I want to hear, but kind of what I want to hear. Like, I want to know, like.
Well, you got results, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I don't want to hear that anything's torn, but, like, finally someone's competent enough to tell me what is wrong with me and why I'm in so much pain.
Yeah.
And then he did actually look over the x-ray that the previous doctor had taken, and he's like, the degeneration in your spine, he's like, is nowhere near far enough to actually cause all the pain and, stabilization issues that I'm having. He's like, I don't know what that guy's talking about. So, again, my husband was gone. He was deployed at that time, but he's like, I can do surgery whenever you can. I was like, well, my husband gets back on this date. After that, I'm free. He was like, all right, well, we'll schedule in that week that your husband gets back. So I said, sweet. Got in there. The surgery ended up being like almost 4 hours long for all the repair that they had to do. The labrum was completely torn, a bunch of bone spurs. He said that my shoulder socket was just hanging on, pretty much everything was just hanging on by a thread. He's like, you're supposed to be sitting insecure like this. He's like, I don't know how my shoulder wasn't just completely dislocated because it was wobbling around like this.
Jeez.
Yeah, like everything was just shredded to pieces pretty much. But he fixed it, and like he was amazing. fixed everything. He really tightened up the joint. A little bit extra tight, because you can always loosen a joint. You can't retighten one unless you go back in there.
Yeah.
But I think from it being so tight, that's what has caused the next issue that I still deal with my shoulder. Because I had that surgery about 2 months before we were going to move to Japan. And the Marine Corps is so crazy, and I don't know why it mattered, but they said that I would have to be completely discharged from physical therapy a couple weeks prior to the move. And the shoulder rehab that I had to complete, the doctor said I would need at least 6 months. So I only got 2 months of physical therapy with my team. So definitely not enough, for anyone to be like, yeah, your shoulder's good to go. I was still really struggling when I came over here by myself with range of motion, with strength, and trying to do it on my own. Because with the bicep tenodesis that he did, because the long head of your bicep connects up into your shoulder. He took that tendon and he pinned it down into my arm. So with that kind of surgery, I wasn't anything, not even a water bottle for 8 weeks on my left side.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. Yeah.
And you had your kids at this point?
I had my daughter, just my daughter.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was really hard, because especially when I would be home alone with her and my husband was gone at work, she'd always be asking me to hold her, and she was only about a year and a half, almost 2 at this point, so it was hard not having to look at my daughter and be like, I can't hold you. I can't pick you up. I'm sorry.
How old was she?
She'll be 4 in September.
No, I mean, how old was she when this happened? 2? She was 2?
Almost 2. She was a year and a half. Yeah.
My gosh, that's a terrible age to not. Whew.
Yeah. It was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was sad, because she'd look at me.
Always want to
She'd look at me like, Mommy, pick me up, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. That'll teach her some independence for sure.
Yeah, that's very true. She's always been pretty independent, but yeah, she learned to be pretty efficient on her own. She learned to open the fridge and get all her snacks by herself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after my surgery, I felt like I was starting over again at square one, because I lost everything on my left side, because for 8 weeks I wasn't even allowed to lift anything. And then when I was cleared to lift something, it was 1 pound. And then so I'm like lifting 1 pound at physical therapy, and then it was, a couple weeks after that, oh, you can lift 2 pounds. All right, here I am with 2 pounds.
Jeez.
And then when I was cleared to actually be able to go back into the gym, and do like legs and cardio and different things, at that point I was only allowed to lift 3 pounds. Before my surgery, I'm like lifting, like 30-pound dumbbells, and then I go back into the gym and I have my little baby 3-pound dumbbell that I'm like curling. I was like pretty embarrassed. I just felt like, look at me with this little baby weight. This arm, my right arm can do 3 times the weight. And I'm over here just throwing a tiny little 3-pound dumbbell. But as part of rehab.
Yeah.
And it was just a long, agonizing process.
And you know what sucks is, like, so I have experience with, I had surgery on my finger, and it's till this day it doesn't straighten, and ended up blowing a gun blew up in my hand, and there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, I was actually around I want to say I was 14 when it happened, and my third surgery on it was when I was 16. And it keeps going back to this, so I just said screw it. But anyways, so I always went to the gym, and I always worked out, and I always, I was only 16, so you're just throwing weight around, like, thinking
no
you're doing
purpose.
right. No.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, my right arm got a lot stronger, and my left arm, even till this day, I still think my left arm's weaker, just because you have that mental block. I guess it's always in the back of my head, like, I need to work this one out more. But then you end up finding out that this one has more stamina, has more, because you focus on it so much more now because you had that separation in between where you couldn't do anything with his hand. Like I had a cast that I had to keep up. You ever see that movie? You ever see that movie where the kid, he throws the fastball super quick, and he was like a young kid, went into the All-Stars, everything, or major leagues. Well,
I'm terrible when it comes to movies. I haven't. All my friends make fun of me because I've seen like very little movies in my lifetime.
So what? In that movie, he has this brace, and he has to keep his hand outside the window every time he's going somewhere.
Oh no!
And everybody's like waving at him and shit when he's going places because they think he's waving. But well, that was me for. It had to be like a full year, just because I had to keep having surgery after surgery, and because at first, well, what happened was shrapnel from the firearm ended up cutting my tendon right here, and they had to find it down here and sew it back up. But so the scar tissue keeps making it end up like this.
Yeah.
So they had for the first surgery fix a tendon so I could have a full grip and everything, but just the scar tissue after going into physical therapy for like 6 months or 8 months, whatever, squeezing the ball, putting my hand in a brace where it'd push it back, where it'd straighten, shit like that. But every time they'd say, okay, well, you should be good on physical therapy. Just continue the exercises when you get home. After a week, it goes back to this because I wasn't doing it for hours. But yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things, though. You always feel like that side's going to be weaker, even if it's not, and you try to balance it. But good times.
I know it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Especially after any kind of surgery, like it's such a struggle because, I mean, my left side, you look at me and it's so much smaller, and that was my thing when we first got to Japan. I planned on no more kids. I was like, I'm done, because I never wanted to go through that weight gain again in my life because it was awful. And I have really bad hip dysplasia, so being that 205 pounds. Just that pressure just made my hips hurt so much worse when I was pregnant, and I felt like I couldn't move, and it was just awful. So I was like, yeah, never getting pregnant again. I have my daughter; she's beautiful, she's healthy. I couldn't ask for more. So when we got here, that was just my goal. Was like, okay, I need to get back in the gym. I need to really just focus on rebuilding my left side because it was just so tiny. It's so weak. It's so sad looking. And then I had like this all big, like muscular side, it was just, I looked so, disformed, especially in my eyes, we're our hardest critics. So I'm like looking at myself thinking, oh my God, I look terrible. And, when I came here, I didn't have physical therapy. So I'm trying to still do my stretches and everything because my range of motion is still garbage. And I realized I have an impingement in my shoulder because I go to to do squats to even get my hand in this position. As soon as I grab the bar, my arm goes numb. And I'm like, gosh damn it. So I try to do, to this day, so much manual work as much as I can. I cut myself. I do, put like the lacrosse balls, and like try to rub it against the wall. Try to get my husband to like help stretch me, and I suffer right now from severe like scapular dyskinesis. So my shoulder blade sits like this, and it just doesn't track right, and I can feel it even just sitting here. If I try to do like a pressing motion or raise my arms, it feels disgusting. Like I feel my shoulder just not move right, and it hurts, and so it just. I'm at that point where I'm like I don't know what else to do. I'm like, I still do my physical therapy exercises. I still stretch. I'm just still in a lot of pain. I go to the gym now and I try to do, like a dumbbell press, and this arm just wobbles. Like even if it's a lightweight, it's just like so wobbly, so unstable because my shoulder isn't functioning right. And so even before my son, so that's where I was at. I was just still frustrated, still like, all right, I want to compete someday. I want to do this and that. Here's my goal. I want to look like this. I'm still getting nowhere. But I was trying my best. I was really trying my best. And then I found out I was pregnant. And I found out I was pregnant with my son when I had just started a new job here. Just started on another degree. I was started my third degree, and I had I'm like, all right, I have all these goals, and blah, 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 I'm gonna do this and this and this. I find out I'm pregnant, and
Your husband's gone again.
He was about to leave again. Yeah, he really was. And I was like, why? I was like, all right, God, like you see all these goals I have set for me. You see that, I want to do bodybuilding. I want to do this and that. And here I am again, pregnant. And I had an IUD that was supposed to be good for 12 years. I was like, all right, I guess this isn't my plan. I
got a plan for you.
Yeah. I was like, obviously my son wanted to be here because he defied all odds and all birth control and everything.
Now he's a strong swimmer.
Yes. Very strong. My husband always jokes, he's like, I don't shoot blanks. Sorry. I was like, okay. Obviously. But yeah, so there we go again. Found out I'm pregnant. And again, when I am pregnant, I'm just all discipline, all self-control goes out the window because all I can think about all day, every day is food. I'm just hungry. So at that time, I gained 80 pounds with my son. I actually wasn't able, with my daughter, I was able to work out all the way up until I went into labor. With my son, at about 6 months, my doctor here said she didn't want me doing that because I have a heart condition, SVT, and pretty much all it is I just have a rapid irregular heartbeat, whereas your resting heart rate is probably maybe like 60 beats per minute. My resting heart rate usually runs about 80, 90 beats per minute. So
funny story. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Well, so I just found out last month that I have a heart condition as well. So, yeah, it's called athlete's heart. Mm-hmm. And it's where your heart enlarges, and yeah, so I have irregular heartbeat, and I have all this other shit going on. So good times. So I'm there with you.
Welcome to the club. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. I dealt with it a lot when I was younger. And being an athlete. So when I had that fast heart rate, when I'm playing sports, it would just skyrocket, and a lot of times I just hit the deck, pass out or something. Finally went to a cardiologist when I was younger, and they taught me how to manage it, put me on medication, and I was good. Never really affected me until my pregnancies. Again, had most likely the hormones, but my heart rate would just. Sorry, that's a Japanese alert. You can see it's all in Japanese.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably having to do with this typhoon. I can't read it. It's in Japanese.
Oh, I thought you could read that. It's like,
no. So the Japanese language, they have two different styles of writing. One is kanji, one is hiragana, and I can only semi-read one of them. This one is hiragana. I'm not good at that. Kanji, I'm kind of okay. But these alerts come out when, a typhoon, there's a tsunami.
It's just like the emergency alerts here, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so, there could be a tsunami going on right now. I don't know. I have to Google Translate it and figure it out. But right now, I think I'm okay. But yeah, so the SVT really kicked in when I was pregnant, and my doctor was like, no more gym for you. And I was about 6 months pregnant with my son. So I think that even made me gain even more weight because I wouldn't, at least with my daughter, even though I was getting fatter by the second, at least I go to the gym and feel like
you're doing something with it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of managing it.
Hey, I'm putting the nutrition somewhere. That's the important part. All those calories I'm burning and all those carbs, I'm putting into my muscle mass.
Yeah, I was at least trying to put him to work a little bit. But with my son, that's why I feel like I gained more weight with him. So I was a little bit more sedentary. But yeah, so again, went right back to that big fat. I felt like all the muscle that I did put on, even though it wasn't a lot, I lost it all again. But while I was pregnant with my son, that's when I got accepted into the demo crew. And I remember submitting my application because I remember when it came out and I saw it and I was like, oh man, I love Axe and Sledge. I love Seth Brosi. You know, like I bought Axe and Sledge the minute it came out. I went to my local nutrition store and bought everything, you know.
Yeah.
Because I remember what Seth put on one of his YouTube videos, and he just hinted at, you know, making a supplement company, and I was like, hell yeah, that's all I'm ever gonna use. So the moment Axe and Sledge came out, I was all over it. Even some of my friends were like, yeah, we're all gonna buy Axe and Sledge. So like, you know, we went to the local store and we just stocked up. But yeah, so I remember when I actually going on the website when I was here and actually saying, you know, the demo crew was live, and every time I went to the website, I'd see it and I would contemplate, I'm like, I would love to represent Axe and Sledge. I would love to be a part of that. And I just kept thinking, here I am, you know, like 200 pounds, pregnant, you know, not lifting weights. I was like, there's no way I would ever be accepted. But it just kept, you know, coming to my mind. I'm like, I would love to, like, because I love Axe and Sledge. I love Seth Brosi. Finally, one day I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to submit an application. And I'm pretty sure I know I did. But I put in the application, like, pregnant, you know, I'm overweight right now. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I promise you, after the baby, like, I'm gonna get into good shape. I swear.
Yeah.
So, and I submitted it, and honestly, in my heart, I was like, there's no way, you know, like, there's no way I'm gonna get accepted. Why would they want a fat pregnant lady? But somehow, by the grace of God, I guess Carly read it and was like, hey, she's good enough.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it, and just being a part of the demo crew now, you know that it's more than just lifting weights, and that's what's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now that I've seen it, you know, and what they've done with it, yeah, it's beautiful, it's amazing. But, you know, not being a part of it, I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah,
I thought you had to look, you know, like Miss Olympia, or I thought you had to have like 1 million followers, you know, like most other supplement companies. You know, that's kind of what they're looking for, is, you know, fitness model that has, you know, 10,000 subscribers, whatever. And so I was like, you know, that's probably what they're looking for, and that's definitely not me. I'm the farthest thing from a fitness model there could be. But yeah, so when I was pregnant with my son, I got accepted, and I was just so overjoyed. I remember getting the email while I was working, and I think I just like stopped everything, called my husband. I was like, guess what? I was like, you'll never believe it, but I made it. And he was like, cool. Like, I was like, hey, you don't understand the joy that Axe and Sledge and Seth Brosi brings to me. But he was like, yeah, I'm happy for you. He's like, that's cool. You know, he's like, if that's what you want to do, he's like, good. You know, I support you. My husband's never been like really into supplements, and you know, he calls me, you know, bro lifter. He's like, you're a typical gym bro, I swear. And I was like, hey, let me do me. It makes me happy. To him, he said the most god-awful thing in the world. He was like, supplement is just supplement. It doesn't matter. He's like, protein's protein. I'm like, no. Say that again. I'm going to leave you.
Hey, Axe and Sledge supplements is not just supplements, okay? It's a lifestyle.
Exactly. It's a lifestyle. I'm like, this is like, it's like my religion now.
Yes.
He actually was funny, is he sent me an email the other day, and he was like, because before he goes on shift, you know, he always likes to take, you know, like his grains and his proteins and his pre-workouts and different things. And normally I ask him, hey, what do you need? What do you want me to order? So I can order it from Axe and Sledge AMN and take it with you on ship. And I asked him, I was like, what do you need? And he was like, no, we have everything. He's like, I'll just pick around from what we have. He's like, are we good to go? I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah. All right, okay. He's like, besides, if you order something now, it probably wouldn't get here in time. I was like, no, it'll get here in time. I was like, if you need something, let me know. But he was like, nah, I'm good. Time comes around and he's packing up his supplements and he was like, oh, I need a protein. I'm like, I asked you. He's like, I'll just go get one from the PX, which is our store on base. I was like, whatever. He's like, oh, I need some greens. I was like, I just put in an AMN order. I was like, I told you, if you need something, let me know. He's like, oh, it doesn't matter. He's like, I'll just go get some. I was like, whatever. Go get your crappy supplement. And I got an email from him the other day, literally saying, he was like, so the protein I got is pretty disgusting. Actually, Sledge is way better. I was like, I told you.
Weird.
Like, yeah. He's like, oh, these greens that I bought taste like shit. I was like, I told you. I was like, now do you accept my religion? Do you want to convert to Action Sledge and AMN fully?
Oh, man. And that was just...
But yeah, and he was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, I know. Always right. But yeah, so then now that I'm part of the demo crew and I had to lose that 80 pounds, and I think I was a little bit more motivated too, that I was accepted in the demo crew. I was like, oh man, now I gotta get super fit. Had my son. Here in Japan, you're not allowed to put your kids in daycare until they're 6 months. So I was like, all right, well.
I probably wouldn't put my kid in daycare before 6 months. So, I mean.
Yeah, it really didn't affect me because I was like 6 months is perfect. So that was my plan. I was like, when my son turned 6 months, I was like, I'll put him in daycare, and it was gonna be the same preschool and daycare that my daughter went to. So I was comfortable with that. But when that 6 months rolled around, turned into COVID season.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, and everything just was shut down, and so I was like, well, I had lost the weight. But now I'm back to that, just skinny nothing. So I'm like, man, here I am again, starting back at square one.
But you're not pregnant eating a crap ton of food though, so that's a benefit.
Yeah, but so that COVID hit, wasn't allowed to go to the gym. So here's my goals, and I'm still just stuck at home and whatever. But finally, at least here now on base, the gyms are open. I can go to the gym. But I'm still having so many issues just trying to build that muscle on my left side, even with my left knee. I can't even walk without it hurting. It's just frustrating. I remember even telling my friend, like, I actually, through the demo crew, made friends with another woman. They actually live here in Okinawa. So there's two of us. There's two of us demo crew members that are on the island, and unfortunately we haven't met face to face yet. We're planning on it, as long as this lockdown doesn't get any more serious, because they keep us pretty confined. But as long as they loosen up the restrictions, we're planning on meeting in a couple weeks. But I even told her, I was like, I'm so frustrated. I'll break down. I come home and just like break down crying because I can't even bench press, or I can hardly do certain leg exercises because I'm in so much pain. But I sit there and I think to myself, I'm like, you know what? I prayed all my life that my pain would go away, because I've like I said, I've dealt with leg pain forever. My grandparents were preachers, and they used to always pray like, oh, just keep praying, your pain's gonna go away. I've come to the point in my life where I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is just a part of like that trial and tribulation that I have to just keep pushing through to show people. I have a herniated disc. I have cervical degeneration. I have just a busted shoulder that everything is wrong with it. I have really bad hip dysplasia, but this is in my heart and this is in my mind. Like, this is what I want to do, and I have big goals, and I want to keep pushing. And if I can do it, if I can lose 70, 80 pounds twice, and if I can get in the gym and push through the pain of all these stupid injuries or just the way my body was created, like, anybody can. Like, I get people who message me, a lot of, friends, especially, women, they'll be like, oh, you've gained the baby weight and you've lost it and you look great. And I was like, what is it? What do you do? And, and I'm so glad and happy to tell people, this is what I did. And then they say, well, I don't want to do it because I kind of hurt, or I kind of this, kind of that. And I'm like, look, there's one person on this earth that could have an excuse not to work out, who literally had doctors tell her not to work out. It's me. But you just gotta, like Seth Rosi says, you gotta say, fuck the excuses. And if you want something, go after
Put the work in, yep.
Yeah.
But
so
you know what's gonna happen is one day you're gonna, because you're still skeptical on, like, you're still confused on why you still have all the pain and everything, right? One day someone's gonna come up to you and they're gonna say that you changed their life because of everything that you're going through and you're still pushing through. And that's when all of this, it's not going to just be pain anymore. It's going to be, this helped somebody's life. This saved somebody's life, made somebody's life better just because I'm going through this and I experienced it. It helped them through theirs,
And that would be, like the biggest thing, the most gratifying thing ever, to hear something like that from somebody. And that's also, I had that mentality, for a little bit on why me, especially with losing my firstborn, losing my son. I thought, why am I going through this? Why am I going through this pain? Why am I going through this all alone? Like, why did I have to watch my son die in my arms? Why did I have to bury my child? And, I came to the point where I'm just like, all right, God, I have to just give you this pain and just understand that you're in control and understand that this happened for a reason. And I feel like, I'm able to connect to other women who've gone through the same thing, because when you can talk to somebody and they can, and people try to talk to me after my son died, and they would say, oh, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. I literally wanted to scream like, shut up. Like, how would you know? Like, you've never lost a child,
Yeah.
So when you could talk to somebody and they have been through what you've been through, like you said, you can really connect and make an impact with someone's life. So, I've learned to see, the blessing, in the heartbreak and in the pain. And, to this day, I sit here and I'm like, I really want to do this. I really want to, become so much better, but I'm dealing with all these stupid pains and aches and just being old and being broken. But I'm like, I just got to keep pushing, because if I can, inspire or motivate just one person, someone, if that makes an impact on their life, then I feel like, I've done my job. Like, I realized, all right, God, I guess this was my purpose, my plan, and, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, he's got a plan for everybody. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And for everybody, and one day that plan's gonna smack you right in the face, and it's gonna change your life.
For sure. And being raised by my grandparents too, that was just a huge blessing itself, because even though I would be in pain or whatever, and they'd always say somebody has it worse, and I could see that, that I was blessed to go on missionary trips a lot when I was younger and see how other people, were just suffering. And I was like, I'm over here complaining about leg pain. These people don't even have a roof over their heads. They're starving. I'm like, I can push through it. Like,
it's one of those no problems, just work.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, I do not have problems, just more work to do. And that's another reason why, I felt so hard for Seth Rosi, was just listening to him. I'm like, he has that same mentality that I was grown up around, pretty much, a lot less curse words. But my grandpa used to pretty much preach the same thing to me over and over again. And one thing with him was almost anything I did was never good enough. And it was kind of frustrating, but now, I learned to love it and accept it, because, even if I brought home all A's, it was, all right, well, you could have done better. Even if I did first place, even if I got home, brought home MVP trophy or whatever, my grandpa was never satisfied. It was always, you could have done better. You could have pushed yourself more. You could have trained harder. Next time, maybe this, or, you go to my games and be like, you missed that shot. Could have been better. You won, but you could have been better, so it was nothing was ever good enough. So I always just kept pushing myself even harder. And, like that was
Kind of
it.
made made you the person you are today,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, hearing that, from Seth too, that's why I love watching his videos and stuff. It makes me feel like I'm listening to my grandpa all over again. Because, he's just saying, like, suck it up. Like, you don't have problems. There's more work to do. Like, keep going, do the reps,
Yeah.
do it. Like, figure out what works for you and keep doing it. And that's how I've had to learn how to train. I feel like I do a lot of exercises. Probably people look at me weird because I have to manipulate them weird, especially with legs and like foot placement and the way I do stuff, because my hip dysplasia, I won't feel it right if I do it the way everybody says it's the correct way. Like if I do it, I'm like, all right, I do it this way, it hurts. Or, I feel it in the whole other body part that I'm not supposed to be feeling it in. So I've learned to manipulate it and find ways to make it work for me instead of saying, oh, well, it hurts, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I said, I love Seth Ferosi. I love the companies. I love the brands. Like I will always stand behind them 100% because of the impact they had on my life. Like I went from being super depressed and not having, that motivation or that purpose. I felt like I lost everything when I lost my son. And I felt like, man, if I can't even bring a child into this world, I lost my own baby, like what can I do? Like I'm good for nothing. And, I would listen to Seth and listen to how he would talk about, the struggles that you come through in life and the obstacles and how you just push through them, just gotta overcome them. Like it lit that fire again, that I had when I was younger, and again, it was like being able to have my grandpa there for me. Even though he was gone, I was like, hey, Seth, and like, now you're kind of like my new grandpa.
Yeah.
And it was funny, though, is when I watch him on my computer, or even sometimes I have it on the TV, my daughter will be like, hey, look, it's grandpa.
No, geez.
Like, that's Ferosi, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, that's some intense backstory you got there. I'm really sorry for your loss. And I can't even imagine. Like we had a miscarriage once, and that alone just affected my wife. I mean, it affected me too, but I think it's totally different for you guys because you guys are actually carrying the child and you already have that connection. Like I didn't have that connection like she had it, and then we had the miscarriage, and it was always hard for me to. Well, it wasn't hard for her to get pregnant with her first son, which is my stepson. But since I've been in the picture, it's been a battle when we were trying to get my daughter, and we were trying to plan it and everything, but took months and months and months of trying. And then the one time I actually got it, ended up having a miscarriage, and that was like weeks in, and it's pretty rough. And I was like, well, maybe it's me, So we ended up trying again later on, but it took a while for her to recover from just the miscarriage because that's the first one she's ever had. I can't even imagine actually having, being able to hold the child. So I'm really sorry for that, and I can't tell you I can feel for you or anything. I haven't had to experience that. I can only imagine what you had to go through and alone. So, yeah. That hit it home for me.
That was, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And after him, the doctor did tell me, like, don't try to get pregnant right away, wait, because your body probably can't hold on to a baby. And I suffered 2 miscarriages after my son, before I had my daughter. So yeah, it's what a woman has to go through, when they know that they're pregnant. You instantly fall in love with that baby, even though you haven't even seen them on the ultrasound, you haven't even heard the heartbeat yet. Like, it's there and you're just in love. And yeah, it's so hard. I feel so bad for your wife because I know the heartache. I know what it has, that effect that it has on you mentally and emotionally. And yeah, it's something I wouldn't wish on anybody. And unfortunately, it's happened to so many women, and so many women are just quiet about it. And you keep it in and you think there's something wrong with you and you think that it's only ever happened to you, but really, once you say something, you get it out there, and there's so many women that will be like, hey, I've been there. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
We need to talk. We can, and that's been a beautiful side to it. Of being able to, me being able to help other women, and then other women saying, like, hey, I've been there, done that too. You can just come together. But yeah, there's nothing like that. That it can, you never get over it. It'll always be there. But the beauty is that, you have that baby, that rainbow baby, you have that healthy child, so now I look at my daughter and my son, I'm like, you know what? I have one of each that they don't make anymore. I mean, some people think they do, but it's me, boy and a girl, that's it.
No, same here.
I'm like, they only make 2 models, boy and a girl. I have one of each. I'm done. Good. I'm praying. I told my husband, I'm like, either you need to get snipped or I need to get a surgery because I'm not having another one. I don't want to gain another 80 to 100 pounds probably. I'm like, done. I'm done. I really want to pursue, fitness and just keep bettering myself. I'm like, never get there. I have another baby and start all the way back at square one.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was actually gonna get snipped or whatever. That's what you called it. A little weird, but yeah, so when I did that, they scheduled the appointment and everything, and I got there and they're like, okay, it's $600. I'm like, okay, well, that's a pretty pricey appointment. So I give them like $600. And then I go in there and it's me and my wife, right? We go in there, we sit down with with our nurse or whatever. I think it might have been the doctor, but anyway, so she sits down with us and she said, okay, so this is just an appointment to discuss what you want to do. And I'm like, okay, me and the wife already discussed this. So can we just move on and get it done? I mean, I'm kind of like mentally prepared right now because I heard I can't have sex for like 6 weeks after that, and it's going to be rough. So I'm like, can we just get it done? And she's like, oh, no, this appointment is just to talk about it. I'm like, I paid $600 fucking to talk to you about it when I'd already talked to my wife about it.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? So after that, I was like, no, this is stupid. We'll do it later on there, I guess. That drove me nuts. I ended up trying to get my money back. I didn't, but I was like, ridiculous.
The process is ridiculous. Even here in the military, like they made my husband go to like a whole counseling course where they graphically show you all the pictures and everything, and they talk about all the risks and the benefits and blah 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 blah, make you sign a bunch of paperwork. But he went to it and he was going to have it done, but they only do it on like 1 day a month here at the clinic, and he was going to get it, and then they were like, oh, you're going on deployment, you can't have a surgery. So he ended up not being able to get it done, which is frustrating because I had already told him after my son, my doctor said that like the day after I gave birth, if I wanted to, they could perform the surgery to have my tubes tied. Yeah. So I was like, yes.
Done.
I was like, yes, please. And my husband was like, I don't want to put you through that. You've already had like 5 surgeries in your life. He's like, I don't want you to go through another surgery. Like, it scares me every time you go into surgery. Like, I always think you're going to die. Like,
well,
so don't do that.
Considering everything you've been through already, I think that's the least of your problems. So.
Yeah, so he was like, I'll take one for the team. I'll go get snipped. I'm like, all right, cool. And again, he couldn't do it. So now I'm just like, please don't touch me. And don't touch me until you get this done, because all my pregnancies, every single one of them, I was on birth control. None of it worked.
He's very fertile.
He's Hispanic, so Hispanics tend to be, but yeah, it's funny because my kids are born. My daughter's born September 14th, and my son's born September 12th.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so, and if you do the math, it goes back to December is apparently a very happy month for us, and he's getting back from his deployment this December, and I'm like, please, you're not touching me. Like, I'm not doing this again. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
so my wife, she's a New Year's baby, right? So her birthday's December 31st. My birthday's January 14th. My daughter's birthday is December 15th.
Oh, man.
And my son's birthday is February 2nd. So it's like I haven't celebrated my birthday in like years because I don't really, you get hit a certain age and you're like, meh.
Yeah.
But like when you have all of our birthdays like in the 2-month period, and then you have Christmas in the middle of that, and since my wife's birthday is on New Year's, it's always going to be celebrated regardless if it's her birthday or not. But we're always going to, it's like, man, that's always a very tight week for us, or tight 2 months for us.
Oh man, I bet you that's expensive.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no, it's like we save up all year for that. So
Exactly. Oh man, I've never had an actual birthday party growing up. My grandparents didn't care for birthdays, so I never had a birthday party. But my birthday is November 10th, which is also the Marine Corps birthday.
Oh.
So it's like once I got married. Yeah, once I got married, we always have the Marine Corps ball. So I'm like, this is all for me. This is my birthday
my
celebration.
day. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's pretty good. All right, so every podcast we get questions from the demo crew, and especially if it's a demo crew member, and you are one of the well-known demo crew members, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I feel like I'm not too known. Whenever I have my meetings with Carly, I tell Carly like I feel bad. I feel like I'm so terrible at social media because I'm telling you, I love to keep busy. So everything in my day is scheduled, and I've had to get to the point where like I schedule in social media, because if not, like I'm terrible. And I told her, I was like, I'm like an old soul. I'm an old person, and I feel like I'm not tech savvy, and I try to make my best to do posts, certain times and interact with people. But yeah, I felt like for a really long time, I wasn't able to really connect with anybody. But now, yeah, I feel like I've actually made some really good friends, really good connections, and I've fallen in love with the demo crew because I really don't have family, and I really don't have friends that are really into fitness like I am. So it's been awesome to be able to connect with people and to watch them and to be motivated by them and to see their progress and see how far they've come. Like it's beautiful. So yeah, so I think the demo crew being a part of it has really brought me out of my shell, to be more active on social media and to engage more with people, and I love that because like I said, now like I guess I'm a little bit more known, which is kind of cool, but I think I've loved just seeing how it's grown and blossomed and being a part of that. It's awesome, and finding the people that have the same mentality, even finding you and watching you and seeing your stuff. I mean, it's awesome. And I lived in Arizona for a little bit, so I'm like, man, I wish I would have known like all these people that I see that in Arizona when I was there, because I was just there by myself in college alone.
Yeah, no, now we have so in Havasu, I actually have Cody Defoe. He's a demo crew elite member.
Yeah, I love him.
Well, we haven't met up yet, but like we always talk about it. It's like, hey, let's go. What are you doing Monday? And it's like, well, I'm doing chest, and then something will happen where either I'll have to work or he'll have to work late or something. So
life.
we both work. I mean, we both work day shift, but I mean, I work at the prison up here, and crazy hours. So it's
I bet.
I kind of have to plan on the fly, and that's why I like slow down on social media every now and then. Like this whole week, I haven't been on social media. Actually, the past 2 weeks, haven't really been on social media just because I've been like swamped with work and like.
Yeah.
And now we have this. So we have this computer virus that. That went through our whole system. So now we're doing everything by hand again. We had to go old school and do all handwritten reports and everything. So all our computers are shut down right now. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, geez.
And that's on top of the COVID and all that shit. But
It's life, man. Yeah, there's always something. But I mean, I love staying busy. Right. I can't sit down and just do nothing, which I think that drives my husband crazy sometimes because he wants to come home and relax and do nothing and watch TV, and I'm just like, I can't sit there. I'm like, I can't sit down. I have to do something. Give me something to do.
yeah, no, there's always something for me to do around the house. I don't have enough time here where I can get everything done and have time to like sit down. I mean, obviously I have my moments where it's like, you know what, fuck it. I don't care if this has to be repaired or whatever. I'm just gonna sit down and do nothing. I'm gonna play Batman with my son or something, and just do nothing. But now I'm a teacher, so
Oh,
yeah, not willingly, but COVID made me a teacher. So
oh, that's true. That is true. Oh man, yeah. Put that on your resume.
yeah, no teaching. Yeah, teaching's my
Other job.
my second job. Yep. So now that took most of my time. So now I have like my dad list of chores, my dad chores, or what is it? My wife chores, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same here. Like with my daughter, yeah, I started doing more homeschooling with her, but luckily she's able to go a couple hours a day to her little school. But I mean, she's only
Yeah.
4.
No, it's all me. And my stuff's just piling in the back, on the back burner when I'm there during the week because it's school time. Weekend
Yeah.
weekend is my time. But all right, so questions.
Okay, ready.
Okay, first one. Okay,
I like that.
For those of you that don't know, but Demo Crew is Accent Sledge supplements ambassador team, and me and Seirra were both on it, along with some other awesome individuals. And if you want to get to know a lot of them, they're actually on my podcast. And Dante Petrella has his own podcast called the Democast. Same thing, same goal. Anyways, so here she is, Seirra, in her glory. And you're always having that like a different kind of cool mask on, looking like a ninja or something.
I mean, yeah, live in Japan. I'm like, I gotta feel like an anime character.
So is this your left arm?
My right arm.
That is your right arm? Okay.
That's my right arm, yes. Yep.
When is this?
That was date night, probably like maybe a month ago.
You're a true Demo Crew member when you flex on date night.
Yeah, it was Friday night and it was date night, so I was like, hey, it's Flex Friday. So I'm like, and it's date night. So I was like, usually the picture on the left, I'm like, usually everyone sees me working out and I just look like a crazy person. That one I don't look too crazy because I have a hat on. But usually my hair is like on the top of my head and I'm like all sweaty in my sweatshirt and stuff. And I was like, I don't ever dress up very girly very often. So I was like, let me take a picture and show everybody that I still look like a girl sometimes.
No, this surprised me, honestly, because I haven't seen you all dressed up before. I've always seen, your gym.
Yeah, my normal gym uniform, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dang. That's her. That's her outside of the gym? Holy shit.
Yeah, that's me outside the gym. That's me underneath the sweatshirt that I always wear.
That's you in Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
in
My
Japan.
favorite katana. Love katana.
All right. So, anyways, Christy Archer, have you ever done a fitness competition or do you plan to? I think you already covered that a little bit, but
I've never done one. Always wanted to. Like the minute that I fell in love with bodybuilding, that was like I said, I became obsessed and was like, all right, I got to be the best. But my shoulder is always just set me back so much. And then having 2 pregnancies where I just got super fat and I went back to super skinny and everything. Like, yeah, it's just never been able to. My goal in my head was like, oh, when I'm 25, I'll probably compete. And then obviously life hit me and I've passed 25 and I have not competed. If I do compete, sometimes I'm like really realistic with myself and I think it might not ever happen just because of how shitty my body is. If I do, it's probably a good 5 years out from now.
yeah, good question. I was curious that too. So I try to read these before, so I don't ask these questions beforehand. But sometimes it just comes out. So, anyways, Mr. Push-Up King Christian Lopez. When training with the mask on, do you feel like a character of Mortal Kombat? Is there a mental difference with American fitness and overseas fitness? Long-term goals. How many max push-ups can you do?
So the first one, Mortal Kombat character, yeah. I like to channel Katana. She's my favorite, especially actually in the game. If anyone ever wants to play me, probably whoop your ass playing as Katana. I love her. But yeah, I would say Katana is the one I channel the most. Or if I'm trying to like go super beast, probably Melina, because she's a little bit more scary. But yeah, I love Katana. Is there a difference in mental fitness or mental difference in American fitness and overseas fitness? Absolutely, yes. When I worked out, we used to live in Jacksonville, North Carolina, and I went to Gold's Gym. I absolutely loved Gold's Gym because the moment you walked in there, you could just like feel the energy, feel the intensity. Most of the people in there that I knew of did compete. So it's like everybody was like at the top of their game. Everybody was pushing each other harder, and I loved that atmosphere. It was amazing. And it always made me push myself even more, even if I was working out by myself. Because I'd see everybody around me like hustling and putting in the work. So I was like, all right, I got to keep up. And then I also was able to make friends with this couple that actually he was in the military, and he was actually over here with us for a few months on a UDP. But now he's back in the States with his wife. But him and his wife, I would see them working out together all the time. And his wife was in like crazy good shape, and he's in like amazing good shape. Like he's got crazy genetics. And I was able to make friends with them, and they to this day they push me to just keep getting better because they're ridiculously fit. So yeah, so American fitness I think is just amazing, especially the vibe. Here overseas, really like out in town, you don't see a lot of like fit Japanese people. I've really actually never seen like a Japanese bodybuilder. I know there is one that's in the States, and he's from Japan and he competes, but like here, walking around, never seen a Japanese man that's like super fit. I've never seen a Japanese woman that's super fit. So I don't think...
You actually have like a lot of gyms in Japan?
There's a lot of like CrossFit gyms that I see out in town. But I've literally never seen like a swole Asian. I haven't seen one here. And then here, even on base, there's just not that vibe, that intensity. I kind of hate this gym, to be honest with you. I go in there and like people are usually just kind of standing around talking to each other, kind of like lollygagging their workouts. Like I don't see a lot of intensity. There are some. I'm not gonna say all of it's bad. There are some. And I love those people. I love when they're at the gym because it just pushes me. But yeah, overseas fitness, I feel like I don't feel like a lot of people compete over here, like the ones that are in the military and stuff. So I feel like maybe they don't have like that same drive. I feel like a lot of it is just they're just there because the Marine Corps says they got to be fit. So they're just like, hey, Marine Corps says I have to do pull-ups, so I'm just gonna do pull-ups. But yeah, I miss being in that American gym atmosphere over here. Over here it just kind of sucks. Plus the gym I work out at has really shitty equipment, very limited equipment, and usually half the equipment is always broken. So it's really frustrating. Long-term goals, I just want to just get bigger and better. I would love to look anything like Shanique Grant, who is the Miss Olympia right now. She has like the most perfect physique I've ever seen in my life. That would be a goal. To look like her would be a dream come true. Will it ever happen? Who knows? How many max push-ups can I do? Like 3. I can do like 3 push-ups because my shoulder, I'm telling you, I don't think people understand when I say my shoulder hurts so bad. Like even just not even actually doing a push-up, doing the motion right now, it hurts my shoulder. So I try to do push-ups because people keep tagging me in the challenges. They're like, hey, do push-ups, and I'm like, 1, 2, done. I can't do anymore.
Have you tried like a TENS unit for that?
Yeah, I do. I have my own TENS unit. I have my whole cupping set. I have all this, like, I have a bunch of equipment. Nothing has seemed to really, I think I need to see like a neurophysical therapist.
Like a specialist, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they need to do a lot of manual work or something. Nothing seems to be working.
Okay, so Billy. So the thing about Billy is he used to copy and paste his questions every podcast. So anyways, I called him out on one. I think it was Nat Lyons, I think his podcast. I called him out on it. I said, dude, you got to find new questions. You got to stop copying and pasting. So he actually does pretty good. Billy, you know what? Good job, Billy. He actually does. He researches and shit now. I'm proud.
He's doing good. He's growing.
Yeah, he's growing. Good man.
He is. I love him.
I call it adulting. Good job, Billy. So, anyways, his questions: how difficult was it to get adjusted to the time zone in Japan from when you were in the States?
That actually wasn't very hard.
I'll go to the second one afterwards. Anyways.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. It wasn't really hard because it was a 13-hour flight, and I just told myself we were leaving Seattle, that's where we flew out of, and we left Seattle in the morning, and I tracked it. I was like, all right, 13-hour flight. We're going to be in Japan at night. I told myself I'm not going to sleep, so I stayed up the whole 13 hours, so by the time I got to Japan, I was tired. I'd go straight to bed instead of sleeping on the flight and then getting here, being wide awake, and having jet lag. So that was actually pretty easy because I just told myself, don't sleep, stay awake. Once you get to Japan, then you'll sleep. So I got here, went to sleep, woke up, felt great, and I just kept, it didn't really bother me after that.
So when you did that, like, was it, so you 13 hours, say you leave in the morning, and you just go throughout the one day, or 13 hours in that day, right? And did it feel like, wow, it was Sunday, and now it's Monday? I've been on a plane for a whole day.
Yeah, that was really weird because I was like, wait, we left at this day, and I've been on this, and like I'm still on this day. Like I was like, what the heck? Yeah, it was trippy at first, but not so bad because, like I said, I stayed awake, so I was like, whatever. I got here and I was just tired. Went to bed, woke up, and that was good. But yeah, it wasn't too hard. But yeah, the whole you live a day ahead takes a while to get used to.
Yeah. How did it affect things in the beginning, like your workouts, sleep, and diet?
So workouts, it really didn't affect anything because, like I said, I got here, went to bed, I woke up, felt great. Didn't actually suffer jet lag. Sleep is always good. I all my life I've always run off of very little sleep. I don't know, I'm weird. I feel like if I get 8 hours of sleep for the whole day, I feel groggy. But if I get like 6 hours of sleep or less, I feel great.
Well, waking up at 7 a.m. on a farm or a ranch at like 7 years old for your whole childhood probably has something to do with that.
Probably. So yeah, so sleep was great. I guess when I first got here, workouts were so good. Diet, my diet was awful when we first got here because all the new food, the ramen, the sushi, like everything was so new. I was like, we just had to have it all. So I think I got a little bit pudgy probably when we first got here. We were just stuffing our face with everything. Everything was so new, so good. But yeah, so my diet was trash when we first got here because everything just went in my face.
And then he makes sure he lets me know that he's been trying. So good job, Billy. Again, you know what? Call out to Billy. Good questions.
Good job. Yeah, I like your question. Thank you.
All right, Tim, how do people in Japan feel about America?
So, let's see.
Oh, man.
Here in America, or here being in Japan, kind of mixed feelings. There's a lot of people who actually will sit outside the bases and protest, saying that they don't want Americans here, they want Americans out. This is their island. We have no business being here. Yada yada. So there's that, but they're paid protesters. So Is that truly how they feel? Not 100% sure. Because I will tell you what, every Japanese woman on this island would marry an American man in a heartbeat. So, and you see that a lot. You see so many Americans marry these Japanese locals. So I feel like they probably, they have to like Americans in America because, they want to come to America.
Land of opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I'd want to be an American too, But yeah, so I think it's kind of hit or miss. I think a lot of maybe the older generation doesn't accept America and Americans, because they were here when we nuked them.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry. Japan kind of had it coming, but
Your fault, my bad.
Yeah, but I mean, they're really nice people. They're very polite. Most of them, I think, seem to like us and America. But again, it's hit or miss. So far, I haven't really met anyone that was like rude to me or said like, "Oh, you're American, can't do this, can't do that." But I will tell you, I never felt discrimination in my life, being a woman or being a Hispanic or anything like that, until I came to America or came to Japan. You do get discriminated because you're an American, not because you're this or that. But you're like, "Ooh, you're American, you're not Asian." They look down on you. Anything you do here is automatically your fault. Even if like get in a car crash and they hit you, you're the American, you're the foreigner, so you are at fault. So it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I can see why. All right. Mike Crowley, your favorite area to work out? I'm assuming. Now, I read this one. I don't know if he's actually talking about place or like body part area, kind of, like muscle group, maybe.
Yeah. So if it comes to like area, if you're thinking about place, definitely in a gym. I am not motivated at home. I hate home workouts.
Well, I saw you doing tire flips and shit a little bit ago.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't do stuff like at home. Like I hate it. But that's like my second best thing is there's a little like Marine Corps fitness outside area where you can do tire flips, pull ups, lift a log and stuff. So I'll go do that. To me that's still pretty fun and challenging. If it's body part, probably back. I love back just because I really don't have any pain when I do back. So that's probably my favorite my favorite body part to hit.
All right, and your favorite Action Sledge and AMN product?
Favorite Action Sledge product, probably the grind, just because that's something that I always take no matter what. So I can take that even if I've had a surgery. I can take that if I'm pregnant, if I'm breastfeeding. Like the grind is always there. It's always an essential for me. I take it every day. AMN product, hands down, the vegan protein. I've fallen in love with that stuff. I take my vegan protein every single day. I've made it every which way possible, from ice cream to pancakes to muffins to cookies, like everything. I'm obsessed with the vegan protein. I have like 4 tubs of it already.
Yeah. I haven't tried it. I'll try it eventually.
You gotta try it. It's so good. It's delicious.
The flavor sounds amazing. So.
Yeah, they did an amazing job with the flavor. I love it.
How's life in Japan versus life in the States?
One thing about Japan is like nothing is really convenient here. Even though this is like the island's only like 60 miles long, the traffic here is ridiculous. To get to one side of the island to the other side will take you completely all day. Living, especially on base, like everything closes early, which makes no sense to me. Because I feel like they have to realize, military schedules is not like a 9-to-5 job. So I'm like, why is everything shut down at certain times? But I definitely miss the convenience of the States where, if somebody's sick, in the middle of the night, you can run down to a Walmart or a CVS or something. Here, as a military member, there is a curfew. Like you can't leave base after 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. I've never leave base at that time, so I forget. But you have a curfew. You know, you're not like as free. Where like in the States, even as military, you're a little bit more free to do stuff. But here, they completely dictate if I can go off base, you know, or not. If I could shop at a store or not. So I definitely miss the United States. I miss the freedom. You don't know what freedom is like until you lose it. But it's beautiful. I can't talk too bad about it because it's amazing to be able to experience another culture, experience the food, you know, the life. But definitely America, hands down, best road system in the world. Here, the driving is god awful, horrendous. The light system here is terrible. People don't know how to drive here. It's terrible.
Let's see. What's the biggest fish you've caught? What's the best catch? Not the husband either. I think you already covered the husband, so we'll go with.
Biggest fish. Probably the marlin. It's about a 300-pound marlin.
Jeez.
Best catch. I don't know, because like I think when people say best catch, you know, they think, oh, you know, the biggest fish, which would be like big marlin or wahoo that I've caught. But I think when I catch like a huge flounder, I get more excited than anything because I love flounder.
Oh yeah.
So I've caught like a 5-pound flounder before, and to me that's like my trophy fish. I'm like, look at this flounder. It's huge.
The 300-pounder had probably put up a fight though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, those when you get into the bigger game fish, it gets hard to reel in. And I mean, I was pregnant when I reeled in some big old mahi and some swordfish and stuff. But yeah, I mean, and I also love catching big drum. So when I've caught some big old bulls, and I think those are some of my best catches.
All right, Jake Bloom. Who is your fitness icon or someone you look up to? I'm assuming, well, you already covered Seth.
I do. I love Seth. Probably from a woman's perspective, I want to look like a woman, bodybuilder. Not that I mean, if I could look like Seth, cool, but look like a woman. Shanique Grant, who is the 2-time Miss Olympia, she's amazing, beautiful. Juliana Malacarne, who was the reigning queen before her, gorgeous. Like she has massive legs that I would give anything for. But I think personally, I was able to befriend this woman who worked out at Gold's Gym in Jacksonville. She actually is an IFBB pro. Her name is Shannon, and I really admire her a lot. Just because, like, you know, I went up to her one day and just to talk to her, you know, compliment her and talk to her, and she was just so humble and so sweet, and just took so much time to answer all my questions and whatnot. And you know, she's huge. She's massive. She looks like she could be Miss Olympia. She's beautiful. And she's someone I really admire. You can look her up, Shannon Sarmento. She's wonderful.
You know what? Just for sake of science, how do you spell that?
Shannon. So SHANNON, I believe. I gotta pull it up on Instagram. And then Sarmento. It's just how it sounds. Yeah, SHANNON, Sarmento, SARMENTO. Yep, that is her.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's amazing. Like, and being able to like watch her work out in the gym, like that was incredible for me. I used to just like stare at her. I used to just like, because I would just try to, you know, like see, you know, what is she doing, you know, exactly how is she doing it, you know, why is she doing it. Because she's amazing. But yeah, she got her pro card, I believe the year that I met her. I'm trying to get a good picture from her Facebook or her Instagram. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
She's a little older too.
Yeah, she is, and that's what's even more like motivational, because I was talking to her one day and I was like, look, I'm already 20-some years old, you know, like I think I've missed my chance. And she was like, heck no, Because Juliana Malacarne was like 35 years old when she won Olympia, and then Shannon, yeah, she's in her late 30s, I believe. And seeing that, even she was like, look, the older you get, the women's muscle matures better when you're actually a little bit older, and it looks better. So she's like, you just started. She's like, you'll do great. She's like, just keep pushing. So yeah, so the fact that I was like, oh man, look at her, she got her pro card in her 30s. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I'm not too old just yet.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Dante Petrella himself. Dream location to go fishing, plus your favorite fish to catch. I think you already talked to. You already mentioned. Well, when you catch your marlin.
Flounder is probably my favorite fish to catch. Just because I swear I can pull out a flounder no matter where I'm at. My husband calls me the flounder whisperer. Dream location. That's hard. My dream location, like that I've ever just wanted to go, just in general, is Australia, and I've never been able to go there. I want to go there just for like vacation, but I also want to fish there. I'm dying to go fishing there. But some of the best fishing in the world is in Costa Rica. And him and I have talked about this on Instagram. I'm like, we need to go to Costa Rica so we can catch some big old rooster fish. We'll probably have to do like a demo crew fishing trip. Mike can come too. And we can all just have like the greatest vacation of a lifetime. But yeah, so probably
come, yeah.
Yeah, Joey too. Yeah, whoever wants to come fishing with us, let's do this because yeah, I'm dying to go to Costa Rica. But I really love catching flounder. That's my biggest thing. Redfish is fun too, though.
All right, Mr. Nat Lines. Are the ingredient profiles of supplements different from Japanese brands compared to American brands?
I know that they are here in Japan very, very strict on what can go even into their foods. So there is that difference. A lot of American brands, not Axe and Sledge and AMN, but a lot of American brands, they kind of put a lot of fillers, a lot of crap in their stuff. So here in Japan, definitely they don't have a lot of that junk in there. I haven't really tried a bunch of their stuff. I've only tried some protein bars, and they were actually really, really good. Better than a lot of the ones I've had in the States.
Yeah. Dry.
Yeah.
Joey Brooks, how do you balance family and fitness? Hillsong or Passion?
Jensen Franklin,
yeah. Or Steven Furtick.
How do I balance it? I'm a very, very scheduled person. Everything is in my planner. I plan out my days. I have an itinerary for everything. But I think the main thing is on the weekends is all about family. So I usually ask my daughter, what does she want to do? And just do that, whether it's the zoo or the beach. Sometimes she wants to go fishing, so we go fishing. Like everything on the weekend is just all family. But Monday through Friday, it's work, school, and then fitness. And for me, fitness is work too. So it's all scheduled in. Hillsong or Passion, I would say Hillsong. That's what I grew up with. I love Hillsong. I was a worship leader, so I took a lot of the songs from Hillsong. That's what I would sing in church. I'm gonna have to go with Jensen Franklin hands down because again, I grew up with Jensen Franklin. I'd actually go to his youth conventions every year. I love him. He's been part of my life forever. I'm hoping to actually go with him and his group to Israel next year. Not this year, but next year.
That'd be cool. Where it all happened.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite sushi?
Favorite sushi. So that's a little bit hard. In the States, when I did have sushi, I hated it. I thought it was absolutely disgusting. My husband and I took me once, and I just came home and threw up half the night. Maybe it's bad sushi. I don't know, but I never ate it after that until I came here to Japan. And here in Japan, sushi is not even near the same as it is in the States. It's actually sashimi, which is just rice and a cut fillet of the fish. So You don't have all these fancy rolls and different things that they do in the States. It's very simple, but here it's amazing. And I think if I do get sushi, not too often, I try to stay as vegan as possible, but I'm more sometimes pescatarian. I'll just get, I think here, it's just the rice with salmon on top of it. That's like my favorite thing. Here they have these restaurants where you sit down in a booth. There's no servers, no nothing, but there's like a little digital screen, and you put in your order, and there's like a little conveyor belt, and the food comes right to your table. So you order the sushi. So on the screen you say you want tuna and whatever, salmon. You want shrimp. You put in your order, and the next thing you know, it comes on the conveyor belt and stops. You pick it up right there at your table. It's amazing. I think I've shown it on my Instagram a couple times, but I'll show it again now later. So if people are interested, if people are interested, go to my Instagram. I'll post it again. It's pretty amazing. I wish we had that concept in the States, because you're just alone in a booth, putting in your order, the food comes right to you. It's awesome.
All right, Cameron, when you're not into a workout, what motivates you to kill the next workout?
So I'm trying to think if he means like a specific workout that I'm doing or just the whole workout in general. But like a lot of times if I'm in the gym and something's not working, like, my shoulder's killing me, what motivates me is just me telling myself, like, I got to figure out something that's going to work for me. A lot of times.
I think what he's talking about is like, when you're like when I said, okay, you work out, you got to kind of read your body or whatever, right? And you start doing arms, and then you're like, I'm not feeling arms. So then you switch to like chest or something. Like you're not into your workout really, and then you have to switch it up, maybe.
The biggest thing when I hit that, when something's not feeling right, I literally, and this every time, I'll just grab my phone and I'll look up a Seth Feroce video. And especially if I'm hitting something and I'm not feeling like I'm hitting it right, I'll watch one of his videos where he's explaining it, and then that's what I'll have it playing in my headphones, and I'll just keep referencing back to the video, and that's really what motivates me, is just getting some inspiration on how to do a workout differently, which is, he's very awesome at explaining. He says that a lot of people do the workout like this. I don't like it, so I do it like this. So I'm like, hey, that's a good idea. I'll try that. So that's my biggest motivation is pulling him up on my phone and then just watching through how he does a workout and changing it up.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna probably try that. I actually like when I have my own set workouts, and actually it's a lot of his workouts as well. And I think a lot of us took a lot of his workouts and integrated into our own,
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I don't feel something, like if like say for my chest, for instance, I my chest is my favorite body part to work out. But if I don't get a good pump, then I'm just gonna say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna pull up that 12-week Seth Feroce plan, and I'm gonna go to one of the more intense chest workouts, and I'm just gonna knock that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'll pull up arms and I'll switch it to arms or something. But yeah, that's like my go-to is a 12-week program.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try it out. Right now I'm got back to where I'm trying to lean out. But yeah, I'll have to do it when I'm trying to get back into that game more, like that mass building.
I think the mass building part, because if you once you say you get it, once you start reading it, you're gonna notice that it's a lot of it is based off of diet. It just tells you how much you should eat if you want to gain mass, But I mean the workouts are super intense, a crap ton of sets. Like it tells you when to lift heavy and when not to lift heavy, but I mean a lot of it is just like high intensity. You know how Seth.
I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it because that's right up my alley.
But like
I've been loving watching Dougie flex. Oh my gosh! Like I see his stories, so I'm like, man, your workouts look crazy. I want to try them.
Yeah.
I want to do them.
Yeah, no, he's a big fella too, man.
He is. He's awesome.
All right, best dive bar.
I've really never been into a bar. Not a huge drinker. I've never partied. Never, not even when I was in college. I never drank until I married my husband, and that's still very rare that I do drink. I've never been into a bar. Well, no, I lied. I went into one bar after a ball one time. After the Marine Corps ball, we went to a bar with one of my husband's friends. It was like a Russian bar. I don't know the name. It was in Wilmington, North Carolina. And it was actually really good. I got like a fruity blueberry drink. I don't know what it was called, but that was all I had. So I guess that one's my favorite, but I don't know the name of it. Sorry.
Favorite superhero?
Green Arrow. Green Arrow, hands down. Since I was a little girl, I was obsessed with Green Arrow.
Green Arrow, huh?
Badass. Because he was the only DC character that would actually kill people.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right on that one. No, what's his name? Daredevil. I thought Daredevil killed people.
Yeah, but he's Marvel, isn't he?
Was he? Maybe.
I remember.
I don't know.
Marvel.
He was very short-lived, so.
Yeah, but Green Arrow, hands down. And then when they made the show, I was really excited, but I never had time to watch TV, so I never finished the show. I really want to make time to watch more because I've seen some of the episodes and I'm like, it's
amazing. If you could sing exactly like the person who sings it, what song would you do for a halftime show at the Super Bowl?
If I could have any voice, I would love to sound like Kelly Clarkson. I think she has like one of the greatest voices of all time. But Journey is my favorite band, so I would probably sing like Separate Ways by Journey. If I could sound like them, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I think mine would be Seether.
He's got a really interesting, like, raspy voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're still going. You know, I just looked up their recent stuff, and they're still going.
These old guys, yeah, even Journey, they're still doing it. I'm like, oh man.
And they're still good, you know, and
they are.
You know, it's like, man, how are you doing that? All right, would you rather ask his computer automated questions or the new questions he asks? Billy.
I like his new questions.
Yeah, Billy, let's stick with your new questions.
Yeah, I like his new questions.
Because we already know the answers to the ones that you asked for. And then he puts the automated questions were legit. I had another I wanted to ask, but I had to study for that one also. Just busting your balls. I know.
Oh man.
Gotta love it. All right. Last but not least, Mr. Paul Sanders, the man himself. What motivates and drives you?
I think now one of my biggest motivations is my kids, especially my daughter. I want her to be able to look at me and realize that she can do anything. That no matter what you've been through in life, anything is possible. Because I haven't had it the easiest, but like I overcame everything that everyone said I would never be able to do. Like nobody in my family had went to college before me, so it was always, oh, you're a poor kid who can't afford college. You'll never be able to go. You'll never get a degree. Look at me now. I busted my ass. And I paid my way through college. I did have some scholarships, but here I am. In fitness, it's like I was always a really good athlete. I pushed myself even though I had a lot of pain, but I still did it. Even to this day, it's like they say, oh, once you have kids, and you can't, there goes your career, there goes your education, you can't do this, can't do that. I really want my daughter to look at me and be like, hey, my mom can do it, I can do it. So that really motivates me, knowing that she's watching my every move. And same with my son, but I know he'll look up to his father, a lot more as a role model, but I do want him to see that no matter what, I just kept pushing. And then the biggest thing too, I think, was how I was raised was, if I'm going to do something, I better give it 1,000%. I better be the best at it. Don't ever half-ass anything. So that's a big motivation for me too. It's just don't half-ass it. If I'm going to do it, I better be the best. I better give my 100%. But yeah, just being better than I was yesterday, being better than I was last week. You know, seeing everybody now too, the community with the demo crew, that's so motivating. You know, looking at everybody else's story and seeing what they've gone through and realizing like, hey, they can do it. You know, even though life has dealt them this hand, I can do it too. So that's really motivating. And then my husband, watching him, like he's in the military, so you know he busts his ass. You know, they overwork him, but yet he's going to school too. He's going to college, you know, and I see where he, you know, what goals that he has and what he has to do and sacrifice to achieve them. And that to me is really motivating. He's amazing. He's always been like, you know, somebody that I look up to, you know, with his attitude in life, with his drive, his determination. So he pushes me too. But I think that's the main things. My kids, my family, and then knowing that I don't ever want to be mediocre. If I'm going to do something, I want to be the best.
Yeah. Well, that's where all of our mentality's at. That's why we're all the same in the demo crew. One big aspect of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't thank Access Sledge enough for building what they built. You know, something completely out of the box, something fully different than other supplement companies. It's amazing, and I'm really grateful to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's like one of those rare finds that you just changes just everything, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely does. Because even, you know, after I had my son, well, if I wouldn't have been accepted to the demo crew, I'm not even 100% sure, you know, I would have had such a drive after having my son. Because, you know, I kind of felt like, well, I'm all the way back at square one. Like, it's never going to happen for me because here I am again, 80 pounds heavier. I weighed like 215 with my son. But being a part of that demo crew, you know, coming out of it, I was like, you know, I'm here, you know, I'm representing Access Sledge. You know, I don't want people to look at me and be like, you know, she half-asses everything. She's not in shape, you know, like, you know, I want them to see Access Sledge's, you know, motto and their way of life through me. So I was like, all right, I gotta step it up again. I have to be motivated. I have to push myself. I have to be better. So I really think, you know, the demo crew helped me, you know, keep that mentality after my son and just realize like, you know, I got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
I'm not done. I'm not too old yet.
Yeah, and we'll all put like a boot in your ass if you slow down. So
exactly. I love that. I love that. I need that. I need that in my life. I need someone to keep me in line. And hey, what are you doing? Come on.
Back to it. Go. Get.
Yeah. Exactly.
But anyway, Seirra, I appreciate you taking your time getting on. I know it's we were gonna do this last weekend, but I mean the time difference, and you know you're a day in the future, so it's you know we had to both work with each other on this one. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. It was really good information, and it's good to get to know you and get to know your backstory.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on and thinking of me. You know, it's really an honor to be a part of this and talk to you and get to know you even more. It's been great. I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean the honor's all mine. And like I said, for everybody that's listening, this podcast is to get everybody's story out there. I pick a lot of demo crew members because we all have the same mentality of just fuck shit up and be best at every aspect of life. Give 110%. And you know, Seirra, you're one of them. That's why I chose you because I try to pick wisely. But,
thank you.
Anyway, so thanks for coming on, everybody. Thanks for listening. Like it, share it, get her story out there because somebody that has the same problems or is going through the same thing that she went through. You know, my goal is that the one person that actually needs this podcast will hear it and it'll change life. That's my goal. So, anyways, thanks again, and I will be keeping in touch.
Awesome. Thank you.